Okay. You're going to hear from me. Good to see you, Ray. So our theme, as I said this month, is there is more. So I love this concept of this song. You're going to hear from me. Because we live in a construct where the universe is always hearing from us. Always. Not just when you think you're telling it. It is always, always, always when? Always. You in the back? Always. Right? It is always hearing from us. You're going to hear from me. But the question becomes, what is it hearing? What is it hearing? What does it hear you say? It's nice to get up and say, you're going to hear from me. But what? What are you telling the universe? What are you putting out there? What are you creating with the way you use your mind? So it's not enough to just say, you're going to hear from me. What are you going to hear? What is it going to hear? So I want you to think about your life right now. Just right now in the present situation, the present atmosphere that is your life. What is the universe hearing from you? Can you get up on this stage and sing that song? Not exactly. But can you get up in life? Can you stand in your body, in your life, in your mind, and literally say what you mean? Which is the title of my talk. Say what you mean. Say what you need to say. What do you mean to say? Say what you mean. How many of you really say what you mean? Or how many of us beat around the bush? Sort of say what we mean, but we test the waters first. Let's make sure that they're going to like what we say. Or do we just say what we mean? The universe is waiting to hear you say what you mean, because guess what? The universe actually knows what you mean and only gives you what you mean, not what you say. So it's time for you to actually mean what you say. Cut out all the rest of the crap. And that's my whole talk. Wow, could you imagine? Wow, brunch early. I'm almost done. So, here's the deal. You are constantly and consistently directing the universe. Do you know that? We are all, yes, we do. Move on. What's the next point? You are directing the universe to do whatever you tell it to do, but sometimes you are directing the universe to do things that you don't mean to have it do. Because you're directing the universe from a place of lack or limitation or fear or contradiction or mixed messages. So the question this morning really has to be, when are we going to really stand still and basically be able to say, move over world, move over everything. I am ready to say what I mean and mean what I say. And then watch the universe say yes to the things you want them to say yes to. I want a better job. I want a better expression of me. I want more money. Anybody want that? Yes. Of course. Who wouldn't want more money? Right? And I don't care how much money you have. You will always, always be able to have more. More and more and more. Because that just gives you more to do something with it. So more money, more love. How many of you want more love? How many? I don't know who that was, but someone went, yes. So more love. More love, by the way, only comes in to the degree that more love goes out. That's how it works. That's what the universe is waiting to hear from you. What do you mean? And if you mean, I want more love, but I really don't want to give too much out. I want more love. I love this. I think I counseled someone who said, I really want a soulmate. I want someone to share my life. I don't want them to live in my house. Wait, they said what they meant. And I was like, all right. At first I was taken aback, and I could hear myself like going, really? You do think that's the best? And I was like, wait a minute. What are you going to tell them how they want to live their life? No, not this moment. And I was like, no, okay, so you know what? You get to have that then, if that's really what you want. I remember when Kevin and I fell in love, and it was a falling in love that was so passionate and so profoundly different from anything I'd ever felt in my entire life. Changed everything. Because he moved in with me, and I remember I had this 9-room apartment in New York City, right? 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, living room, dining room, maid's room, kitchen, lots of closet space. And when he moved in that day, I said, here's your closet. And there was a little closet in the corner. And he just looked at me and I said, I have way too much stuff. This is where you're going to have to put your stuff. And this is when I knew I had met the right person for me, my match, because he basically went, yeah, that's not happening. And he just went and started moving things out of my closets until finally he had half of the closet space. And I'm looking going, what did I do? And I found a place for everything. And so did he. And so, you get to say what you want and say what you mean, but sometimes the universe comes along and said, I'm giving you everything you want. Now compromise somehow. Figure it out. Figure out, what do you really want? Because sometimes you're saying, I want love, I don't want to be a soulmate, but I don't want them to live with me, because that's a reaction to some negative feeling inside. So really it is about, are you willing to get to know yourself well enough to know what you want and uncompromisingly then say what you mean and what you desire? And whether it's love or money or creativity or a job, no matter what it is, all four legs of that table come into play when you really start talking about what do I want? Health. When it comes to health, and we're talking about the more vibrancy of health, I think diagnoses and things that go wrong with our bodies, they tend to tell us where we should go in thought. And this is a healing teaching, a revealing teaching that says when something's up with your body, talk to it. Tell it what you need. You tell it what you mean. And I have lived my life that way, and I've had things go on in my body, but things have gone on and then gone away and gone out because we get to say what we mean. Don't let other people tell you what they mean for you, because that's one of the things that really, really sidetracks us. So Ernest Holmes said this. As far as directing the universe, Ernest Holmes said this: it has been proven that by thinking correctly and by a conscious mental use of the law of mind, we can cause it to do definite things for us, through us. The operative words there are through us. Because I think we try to tell the universe what to do for us and then sit down and wait for it to do the work. That can't be, because it's not going to do that. Because what it's really hearing you say is, I'm a lazy. I was going to say ass. I did. I'm a lazy ass, and I just want the universe to do it for me. The universe is going, enjoy that. So he means what he says here. He means what he says here. That your conscious mental use of the law of mind, meaning when you really get it, that this law is waiting for you to speak your word, and your word then becomes law. But you got to speak your word from your mind, from your truth. You have to live your truth unapologetically. Say what you mean what you say, and then watch what happens. He goes on to say, by conscious thinking, we give conscious direction to mind. And mind responds to our advance along the lines of our conscious or subjective direction. And what he means is your conscious or your subconscious direction. How much do you think is going on in your subconscious mind? It's where all your beliefs are. So when I say to people, what is your already established premise of life? I'm talking about, what have you already decided about life? Y'all have decided about life already. It may be hard, like Sharon said. You may have already decided, I'm too old to do this, I'm too old to do that. I don't have this degree, I can't do that, I can't do this. That's your already established premise, and you're walking through life with it, from it. So what Ernest Holmes is saying here is, your job is to literally scrape all of that away and come from the truth of who you are. By conscious thinking, we give conscious direction to it, and it responds to our advance along the line of our conscious and subconscious direction. So it's not enough to just stand up here and sing an amazing song to the universe, metaphorically, and expect the universe to give you everything you're singing about when inside you're thinking something else. Do y'all get that? So it really behooves us to really get a good grasp on what am I really thinking? What do I really think? And also, pay attention to how you respond. How do you react to what other people are saying? You hear what Karen sang that song. What did you think? Doesn't it make you feel good when you hear those kind of things? Move over, I can do that, I can do anything. Don't you all feel like giants when someone's finished with that? No? I do. I say, and Diane Nyad, who was on this stage swimming, fake swimming, but swimming, who told her story. I watched it every time she came here and did that show. I stood here and listened to her. And when you hear a 64-year-old woman, I think she's 66 now or something, talk about swimming, using the body in a way that none of us would ever conceive of letting our bodies swim. From Cuba, was it Cuba? Cuba to Florida? I mean, that kind of thing just makes you like, oh my God, get me to the Y. I want to swim. You just want to go do it, don't you? Really, I mean, that's what that does. But what's going on inside is more important. I can get you there, and on a Sunday, that's my job. My job on a Sunday is nothing more than to inspire you to know you better and to take you to such a high level of consciousness that you can walk out of here and you can swim from Cuba to Florida, if that's what you want to do. That's my job. But if that's my job, and I think I do it really well, because I know how I feel when I leave here. But what's going on in your subconscious mind can literally, how many of you have ever left here feeling like, oh my God, and maybe a few hours later, it's gone down a bit? I mean, I hear that all the time. People say, oh my God, I feel so great on Sunday, but by Monday, my real thoughts are back. That's the subconscious, that's the subjective. And what Ernest Holmes is saying is you can create anything, but your conscious mind is creating it as well as your subjective mind. He also goes on to say this. He says, it's not about what you say you want, it's about what you know you want. It's not about what you say you want, it's about what you know you want. And sometimes, sometimes those things are a little different. Because we say we want one thing, I want a new job. I want to be able to make a difference in the world. And then something comes along and your subconscious mind doesn't really react to it. It reacts from fear or doubt or low self-esteem, which is the biggest killer. They say cancer, I say low self-esteem. That's the biggest killer. Because without low self-esteem, cancer doesn't have a chance. So, I have a little story for you, a little tale of my own, using my own say what you mean and mean what you say. Because it really is. It's not what you say, it's what you mean and meaning what you say. So, we have lived in our house for 20 years almost. When we bought the house, it had a really nice picnic table out back. And it was one of those redwood picnic tables. I said really nice facetiously. But I painted it over and then made it nice. And so, but within about 5 or 6 years, it had kind of fallen apart. And so that was, 15 years ago, 14, 13 years ago, let's say? Let's say 10 so I don't feel so bad. So about 10 years ago, I started saying to my husband, I really want an outdoor furniture. I really want an outdoor, patio set so that we could really be outside more. That was 10 years ago. And I kept saying it. And then a friend of mine gave me her little table when she moved to Oregon. It's as big as that stool. So that went out back, and many of you have been to my house. You've seen that little glass table. It's beautiful with 2 little chairs, because that's all I want is me and Kevin there, nobody else. We do have 2 children, and all of their friends, and all of our friends, and so that's what we've had. And every now and then we've had to put up plastic tables to do things. So anyway, so I said to Kevin, as we got into the spring, I said, that's it. We are getting an outside patio thingy, because that's how specific I am. We are getting a patio set. We are going to do this. So Kevin said, all right, let's do it. So I start looking online, and he's looking online, and it's getting towards June. I mean, we're going into the summer. And I'm like, we've got to do it. And I start really meaning what I'm saying. I'm not just saying, I want this, and thinking that somehow, I don't know, someone's going to show up and put it in my house overnight and scare me. No. So finally, he's in Texas, and he calls me and he says, Macy's is having a sale on patio furniture. I was like, oh, that's great, but I'm not in Texas, and I really need to see it before. I can't buy it without seeing it. And I hear in my head going, another roadblock. Can Kevin not choose the patio furniture? And a part of me saying no. And so So now, and I'm like, it's the modern day. I can be in Texas and be in Studio City. So I get on my Skype, and he's got me on his phone, and he's walking around Macy's showing me all the furniture. But while he's doing that, I'm online looking at what they're not showing us, saying, oh, there's also this. Kevin, they also have this other thing. And he goes on and looks at it. So now we're shopping together, Studio City, Texas, and he's like, he said, well, the one I really want is this teak one. And I looked at the price, I was like, oh, that's wow, that's like a lot for patio furniture. And then I was like, really? Next roadblock. So I was like, well, how much is it after the big discount? And we looked at it, so now we're still going to look at the other ones. So say what you mean, say what you want. I wanted the teak. And I knew Kevin wanted the teak, but what did we both do? Well, let's look at this one. And we start looking at this one, because this one's like $1,000 less, and then there's this one, a little $1,000 less. And we're looking at all, and finally, the cops came. And finally, I said, honey, you want the teak one, right? And he went, yes, I do. I said, so do I. I said, great, tell her we'll take the teak one. So she works it all out. It got delivered. We flew back from Texas. I did go to Texas after that. We flew back to Texas on Tuesday. It was delivered on, Thursday, Kevin? Friday. And when I got home Friday from here, there was this beautiful big teak patio furniture in our backyard. Right? Okay. I mean, after all, I am a doctor now, so we then said, you know what, we have to break this in. So we invited our friends over, Mark Wyrick and Alan Marcy and Will and Nora and Will's girlfriend. And it was cold, and I was not daunted. I was like, please bring jackets, we're eating outside. I don't care how cold it is. We are eating at our teak, we're eating there. And we don't have a heater, so just be prepared to be cold and enjoy the food. So we had this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dinner. And as I was sitting there last night, and I haven't shared this with them, as I was sitting there last night, I looked up and I just saw the expansive nature of the universe. We have this 300-year-old oak tree in our backyard, and that was kind of hovering over, but then in the hole between that tree and this tree was this moon. And I'm just sitting there looking at it, and I thought, why did I wait 10 years to decide to actually mean what I was saying? And how many of us wait way too long to really mean what we're saying? So much so that we do not allow anything to stop us from getting what we say we want. And that goes with everything. And I had this great expansion in my chest. I was like, wow, this isn't just about teak furniture. This is about everything. What do you want, James? What do you really want? You want more love in your life? You want more out of your marriage? You want more out of being a parent? Do you want more out of being a minister? What do you want? What do you want more of? We have just spent this month talking about embracing the more. But we have to understand that we are the more. We have to understand that that more is not out there to get. It's in here to develop. It's in here to say yes to. And it's in here to be clear about. So we have one more week of our theme this month. We have one more week, and there are 5 Sundays in this month because there were more Sundays in this month. And next Sunday is our Teen Sunday, and I can't wait for you to hear what these teens are going to sing next Sunday. It's just amazing. So you've got a week now to really think about this. What do you want? What do you really want out of your life? Life continues to move forward. You can't stop it. Life isn't waiting for you to decide. Because whether you know it or not, you're deciding every minute, even when you don't decide. That's a decision. So what do you want? What do you really want? Are you where you want to be? The truth is, wherever you are is where you're meant to be, because it's the culmination of everything you've done up to this point. But there's more for you to know. There's more for you to be. There is more for you to have, but not have. There's more for you to have up here. There's more for you to expand into in your careers, in your relationships, in your finances. There is more. So that's our job this week. Our job this week is to really say what we mean. And if you can't say what you mean, I wanted to say it this way, but it sounds insulting, but I'm going to say it and then I'll take it back. If you can't say what you mean, then shut up. Think about that. Shut up. Shut it and go to the unlimited potential that you are. It really is time for us to say what we mean. It doesn't mean we become this very rude, insulting culture. But it does mean that in the deepest center of our minds and our hearts, we know what we want, we accept what we want, we decide that what we want is ours to have, and then we create the mental equivalent, as Ernest Holmes says, we create the mental equivalent to make sure that everything that is mine to have is already equal in my mind, because then it shows up. It doesn't matter, as Ernest Holmes says, if what you require, if what you are equal to is in the farthest corner of Africa, if you are equal to it, it will find its way to you or you to it. That's the way it works. Nothing is off limits, as Sharon said. Nothing is off limits. I love that story you told about your father, because Holland Taylor tells a very similar story in the Governor Ann Richards play, where she talks about her father telling her that she could do anything she wanted. Anything. She could be anything she wanted, which most women weren't told back then. Certainly little girls weren't told that. And she said it wasn't until she got to college that she thought he might be wrong. It's funnier when she says it. So it's a similar thing. What are we still holding on to? What are we still literally holding on to that's telling us we can't have what we say we want, and changing and coloring the way we communicate to the universe? If you are not communicating to the universe from a place of power and absolute knowing, if you are not communicating to the universe from that place, you are not speaking from your authentic truth self. You're letting something else change the way you talk. So Don Miguel Ruiz says this: be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. So, when I say what I mean, from a place of love, what I'm really doing is accessing the love that I am and just speaking truth. So if you ever think you're asking for more than you should, it's an impossibility. Because love is infinite in scope, and that's all you're really doing. When you say what you mean, what's really yours, what's really coming through you in a divine way, the truth of who you really are, when you stand firm and say, this is what, as Dr. Walker would say, this is what I require from life. Not what I need. I don't need to come from that place. This is what I require in life. I require better opportunities to express myself. I require more love going out and coming in. I require more money, more financial substance, more that I can use. And I require a mind that keeps expanding in creativity. I require all of that. Why do I require it? Because love, in its infinite scope, cannot be held back, and neither can I, and neither can you. No matter what you think your limitations are, you're wrong. No matter what you think is stopping you, you're wrong. No matter who you blame, you are wrong. Because the truth is, you are God. The most amazing expression of life, and so is everybody else on the planet. So if we just get in step with that and really focus our minds on saying what we mean, I'm expecting to hear everyone that talks to me this week to say what they mean. Don't beat around the bush, just say what you mean. That doesn't mean someone else is not going to respond with what they mean. We have to be willing and open and fearless in our conversations. No more playing games. No more hiding. No more standing behind what we really want. Let's put it all out there. Because if we put it out there, it's going to come back. Namaste. Thank you.